Hey, everybody. John Granato and Josh Jordan. You can hear us on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Josh also handles all the duties at sportsmaphouston.com. You can check out his work there. And if you hadn't hit subscribe yet to us here, hit it right now so that you get all of our content here at SportsMap HOU. Josh, 8 Astros could be leaving in free agency after this season. Justin Verlander, Aledmys Diaz, Mancini, Yuli, Brantley, Vasquez, Montero, Will Smith. Prioritize. Who do you want back most?
Man, obviously, Verlander's the big ticket guy, but you know what that costs to bring him back. So believe it or not, I think Aledmys Diaz is the guy that I would like to have back. He's only making about $4.5 million this year, so you get a little bit of a discount, and that discount comes because he gets hurt a fair amount. So you need that discount if he's going to miss some games. But he's been terrific, and by game production, Charlie Palillo wrote something for us in SportsMap. He's been better than Michael Brantley was before he was hurt. In fact, from July 5th on, Diaz has a better slugging percentage than Yordan. I mean, he has just been fantastic.
Yordan had that lull, though, in fairness.
He did.
And now, you're not saying that you want Yordan at the plate as opposed or Diaz at the plate as opposed to Yordan. Yordan had that lull, and he's back. Listen, I'm going to prioritize Verlander. I know the money situation, but if they can come to terms, I want Verlander back first. Sure. But Diaz would be second for me. Diaz would be second, and probably Mancini would be third. I don't think you're getting Vasquez back. Right? I mean, and he's a luxury. Jiner, I want to see what Jiner can do. Boy, him at the plate the other night and what he did in the minor league system, he and Corey Lee both. I think he's a luxury you don't need. Montero, I mean, maybe I'll put Montero third ahead of Mancini, to tell you the truth, because he has been really, really good. And he is somebody that he's a really good setup guy. We've seen that. Maybe he's number 3.
Yeah, I'd be down with that. Montero's a big one because Stanek only has one more year after next year. And with Montero being free, outside of Presley, those are all your high leverage guys. So I would hope they bring at least one of those guys back. Like I said, Stanek has one more year. So they could make Stanek the setup guy next year and let Montero walk. Well, that's a possibility.
I wonder what teams are going to offer Montero, because we've seen he can close. So he might get closer money and be out of the market for the Astros. We don't know, because they just paid Presley. So that's not going to happen. And Yuli and Brantley, Will Smith, no thanks. Depending on what Will Smith does going forward and into the postseason, because he's been good in the postseason. Maybe he's like Maton, didn't pitch very well, although he has pitched much better lately. Maybe he's Matonish in that he'll be really good in the postseason. But no chance with Yuli and Brantley, right?
I don't think so. I mean, they do love Brantley. That would be the one, maybe, because they're so weak in the outfield in so many ways. But with Yordan playing a lot of left field, that might continue. So maybe Brantley's not something they need to fill right away, because that's why I like Aledmys Diaz. You need him to play the infield, cool. You need him to play left field, yeah, he can do that too. And Pena's missed some games. They like to give some rest to the infielders. Altuve's getting a little older, so I think he might be a guy to prioritize.
And Mancini, he strikes out a lot. If Pawpaw's here, if Dusty's back, I don't know that Mancini will want to come back. Although first base is going to be wide open, so he can be the everyday first baseman. But he likes it here a lot. You can tell the celebration. I mean, every interview he just loves it. So maybe he'll give you a hometown discount because he probably can get some money out there on the open market. So maybe he'll give you a discount just to stay here and win, because he's just so enamored with winning after all those years in Baltimore. You worried at all about team chemistry with this many guys coming and going?
A little bit. I mean, these are some veteran guys. If it's Diaz, Yuli, and Brantley all walking out the door, I mean, that's something. Those guys have been really important players for you, but, the show must go on, and, they're getting a little later in their career. The Verlander thing is the one where, I watched Facing Nolan, the documentary the other day. It dropped on Netflix this week. And then watching Nolan go to the Rangers and have some of the best years of his career in his early 40s. And, watching him break all those records in front of all those crowds. And, the Rangers feel like they got over on the Astros, that they got to be the ones to have all those important games. I could see something similar happening with Verlander. He's going to have a lot of numbers and records he's going to hit over his last few years of his career.
Well, look at the organization is I don't know. It's in a weird place. What with not knowing about Click, not knowing about Dusty, the Verlander decision is clearly Crane's if he's going to want to pay him. And Verlander could, he could do him a solid by all that $60 million that he collected for not pitching for 2 years. He might say that's why he's here for $25 million this year and possibly $25 next year. But that is a Jim Crane decision. I don't know about the other guys, the guys that you're going to have to fill in. It's going to be weird. It's going to be interesting to see how this happens if you've got to replace Click and how quickly they can get all this done.
That's what worries me. You're not sure who your manager or your GM is, and you got 8 guys that could be walking out the door. And one of them, what are you going to do with Verlander? Like you said, Crane will make that call, but if he wants that Scherzer money, I don't think Crane's signing up for that.
No.
So we'll have to see, but that's what worries me just a little bit is who's going to shepherd this team with all this turnover going into the offseason. I will say this, who wouldn't want to be the Astros general manager? I know Crane can be very demanding, so that's part of it, but it looks good on your resume when you go to the playoffs every year.
Yeah, there's a lot of general managers that have a lot of autonomy. This one doesn't. So that's something that maybe some general managers don't want. Jim Crane is going to make the final decisions on stuff. I know he had to actually push Luno over the top on trades, and I would imagine I don't know. We'll find out from Click maybe someday. How hamstrung he was, but yeah, just listen. Click can go look at my winning record. Look what I did in Houston, everybody. How awesome I was. You're going to get paid. You're going to find work if you're the general manager of the Houston Astros. That's all. And listen, the manager might be here right now anyway, Joe Espada. The manager might be here, which the guys I would certainly think that they would welcome Espada, right, moving up in a seat, and Click maybe back too. So it may all be right here, right in front of us, and we just don't know it yet.
No, I think you're right, and I'd be fine with that if that's how it shakes out. If it ends up being Espada and Click sticks around. So I mean, really, only I could think of Baez. That free agent signing didn't work out for him. But overall, I think Click's done a pretty good job.
Yep, filling in Luno's pieces. That's it.